the not-too-distant future, the Earth turns into a barren wasteland where water is so scarce that people have to drink gasoline instead. A time is coming on Earth when fertile soils become useless due to water shortages and uncontrolled use of pesticides. Fields are no longer cultivated, with rare exceptions, and farmer Ernest Holmes' family stayed on their piece of land in the middle of an arid steppe because the man is confident that he can revive the fields. However, for this, water is needed. One day, Ernest and his son Jerome notice two thieves breaking the locks on his well, and he mercilessly guns down one of them. The second cries, appealing to compassion, but as soon as Ernest lowers his rifle, the thief reaches for a gun, but still ends up being killed by the farmer's bullet. However, when they open the well, it turns out to be empty. The pair sets out for the construction site of a water pipeline that bypasses Ernest's plot. The farmer trades alcohol, and he has several dozen bottles in his cart. At the site, they meet foreman Caleb, who doesn't understand why Ernest trades with them. After all, his goods are much more expensive at the border. But the farmer still hopes to persuade the builder to direct water to his farm. But so far, negotiations have not yielded results. Having delivered the alcohol, father and son return home. On the way, their donkey breaks its leg and they have to shoot it. At home, Mary, Ernest's daughter, and Jerome's sister awaits them. The girl does her best to keep the house in order, washing clothes with compressed air, washing dishes with sand, and generally maintaining order. She is very angry with her father because she thinks he is doing nothing to change their lives and refuses to go to the city to visit their mother. However, at night she sneaks out of the house to meet her boyfriend. In the morning, Ernesto and Jerome go to the local auction to buy a robotic mule. The event is organized by a local entrepreneur whose son, Flem, also tries to bid for the mule. However, his father ignores his bids. For a considerable sum, the mule goes to Ernesto. After the auction, father and son go to visit Ernesto's paralyzed wife, whose body is supported by a special exoskeleton. The son observes how tenderly the father treats his mother and realizes that he still loves her and cannot forget her. On the way, the pair stop at a gas station, but now they buy clean water here. Before entering, they see a couple of local marginals who are begging for it, using their baby to do so. The gas station attendant tells the man that Robbie is thinking of selling the child to escape poverty for a while. He gives a few liters to Robbie's family, extracting a promise from the boy that he won't sell the baby. He is willing to help the irresponsible parents and asks them to contact him in extreme cases. When the couple returns home, Flam arrives to negotiate the rental of a robotic mule. Ernest is willing to accommodate him if he brings confirmation that his father is not against the deal. Failing to get his way, an angry Flam leaves, reminding him that Ernest's wife suffers because of his alcoholism. Mary overhears this conversation. Later, Ernest and Jerome, after delivering a new batch of alcohol to the builders, dig a trap for a deer. After digging a deep pit, they cover it with fabric and sprinkle it with sand, dreaming of a luxurious dinner of real meat. Father talks about a girl he saw at the border. For some reason, he thought Jerome would like her and mentions a distinctive feature. The girl's ears peek out from under her hair. The couple returns home, and Ernest again sees Flem leaving the farm on a motorcycle. He really doesn't like that the girl is seeing this guy, which causes them to constantly argue. And on this day, Mary throws a tantrum, refusing to leave Flem. And then her father puts her under house arrest. After finishing boarding up the window, he can't resist, grabs a bottle of alcohol, and heads outside to take a few sips. And the next day, the man discovers that his garage has been broken into and the car is gone. Naturally, the first suspect is Flem. Ernest goes to his father to find out where the guy has gone. He's upset about his son's behavior. Flem is literally obsessed with Ernest's land, believing it can be revived. And today, he went to the mountains to the construction workers. After a tense conversation, Ernest accepts an offer of a drink and sets off in pursuit of Flem. Along the way, he periodically takes a swig from the bottle. And arriving at the construction site where he usually brought alcohol, he realizes that something is wrong. The workers are looking for someone in the mountains, and when they notice Ernest, they knock him out. The man comes to when Caleb accuses him of stealing the alcohol. Apparently, Ernest decided to follow his advice and took the goods they bought to the border. Ernest guesses who pulled off the shady deal. He fights them off and leaves, threatening them with a rifle. Later, he finds Flem sleeping next to his car and the stolen alcohol. The man hobbles the guy and forces him to go to the construction site and confess everything. Of course, their path is not made easier by the weather. It's incredibly hot, and they have no water. To make matters worse, Flem speaks disparagingly about the mayor, making the man angry. So, when the guy offers to quench his thirst with alcohol, Ernest can't take it, grabs the bottle, unties Flem's hands, and takes a break. The guy reveals an old grudge. The land belonged to his father, but the government handed it over to him. Why? After all, that's all, what they had, and he offers half of the money he earned. Quite drunk, Ernest prepares to continue on, but the man is already unsteady on his feet, and Flem throws a stone at him, hitting him in the head. Then he pours the remaining alcohol into him, ties him to the car, and sends him to the construction site where he had stolen the liquor yesterday. Afterwards, he goes to Mary and takes her with him. Jerome immediately realizes something has happened to Ernest. He goes to look for him, and upon arriving at the construction site, learns of his father's death. After the funeral, he and his sister head to their mother to deliver the terrible news, and when they step outside, Flem's pickup truck is already waiting for them. From that day on, the guy settles on their farm, and Jerome, the first thing he tries to do is smash the car, which he believes is responsible for his father's death. Flem comforts the guy and promises to try and arrange for water to be brought to the farm, especially since Mary is expecting a child, and soon they will be a complete family. One day, while bringing another batch of alcohol to Alip, Flem hints that if he doesn't direct water to Ernest's farm, he will tell everyone that the day before there was a scandal between the builder and the farmer, so it is quite possible that it was the foreman who killed Ernest, as his knife was found among the deceased's belongings. Not wanting to get involved in legal disputes, the foreman agrees to give him water. Sometime later, a water supply system is arranged for the farm. Flem plows the land and sows it. Soon, the fields begin to please the family with a harvest, and Flem marries Mary, and they are expecting a child. But the feeling of guilt doesn't leave the guy. He constantly remembers Mary's father. Although life on the farm changes, there's real food on the table now, and clean water flows from the tap. However, soon Flem's father arrives at the farm and informs him that the land was mortgaged and now belongs to the bank. The guy is not willing to give up the land he put so much effort into just like that. He finds out the size of the debt and decides to act. He makes a deal with Robbie to find out the price they would offer for his child. At night, the guy takes the baby, places it in the car's basket, and heads to the village where the buyer is waiting. Robbie and the mother of the child wait on the side and suddenly see the baby being taken. The man protests. He only wanted to find out the price and didn't intend to give the child away immediately. Seeing this, the buyers kill him and try to shoot Flem, but he escapes with the money. One of the bullets hits the car, and its system, damaged, commands the apparatus to return to its manufacturer. Later, Flem buys a farm with the money made from selling the child and tells Jerome that he gave the despised car to Robbie. But it still gets to the workshop where it was made, and soon the workshop owner contacts Jerome and informs him that his car is with him. One day, Jerome witnesses a meeting between Flem and Robbie's girlfriend, who carries a doll instead of a child, and starts to suspect the truth. Lying to the guy that he is going to visit his mother, Jerome goes after the car, but to do so, he needs to cross the border. Since the guy is underage, he is not allowed through, and then a young girl notices him and offers to help. Having examined her hair and ears, Jerome understands that his father was indeed talking about her. The girl seats him in a truck and gives him a cell phone. On the other side, Anna escorts him to the office of a mechanical mule manufacturer and tells him that the return journey will be free for him, since the guards don't care who is coming back to the steps. In the morning, the office owner finds the sleeping Jerome. The man shows a mule with a bullet hole in its body. But the main surprise is that the machine's eyes are a camera, which records everything she sees. A man is summoned on a case, and Jerome reviews the records alone. The guy sees everything that happened on the day his father died: the theft of a car by Flem, the theft of alcohol from the builder's camp by the same person, and the most terrifying thing is the murder. On the same night, Flem wakes up to the sound of rain, which has not fallen in these places for many years, and sees Jerome frozen in his chair. He tells the boy that the car has returned. The man is scared, but tries not to show it, and says that he will go to Robbie to find out how that happened. Later, the guys go hunting. Jerome takes a gun and aims at Flem's back, but he can't kill him, so he says the sight on the gun is off and needs to be repaired. At lunch, the teenager reports that Robbie contacted him via radio, looking for Flem. He is furious and scared, and accuses the boy of lying. But the next day, a letter arrives at the farm, in which Robbie asks for a meeting. Flam begins to believe that the boy survived and can now reveal the truth about their deal with the child. At night, he takes the car and heads to the appointed place, which turns out to be near the site of Ernest's murder. Flam calls out for Robbie, constantly looking around and not watching his step, causing him to miss the trap set by Jerome. The guy falls into it, breaks his leg, and hits his head. And suddenly, he sees Jerome above him with his father's gun in hand. He realizes that the guy knows the whole truth. He tries to make excuses, to appeal to pity for Mary, but Jerome couldn't care less about Flam's excuses. He says he won't tell his sister anything. He stares at the guy for a long time, then fires a shot. Returning home with the car, he says nothing to Mary, and she decides Flam just ran away. Then she suggests bringing their mother home, since now they have the money to support her. Later, the teenager wipes the car's memory, which had captured not only his father's death, but also the murderer's demise.